Do you remember the first time you heard your favorite band? For me, it was a boring night shift as a lifeguard. I decided to kick on the classic rock radio and saw a band that I was familiar with from their logo alone. Once curiosity got the best of me, I became sucked into the world of the Grateful Dead, and I learned very quickly that
the music never stopped. Yeah, you're right. 1, 2, 3.
My favorite Dead tune to play is probably The Music Never Stopped.
I would say there's not very many musicians out there that you get that vibe from.
after I became a Deadhead, I started going to shows with my dad starting in 2021. I would start to devour the songs, learning and practicing everything I could, which helped me stumble onto the song One More Saturday Night. Written by Bob Weir, it is inspired by their 1969 performance at the Armory in St. Louis. This song is one of the most energetic in their catalog, and I knew there had to be something special about St. Louis to the Dead. So I began to research it, connecting with different Deadheads to get their perspective.
Hi, I'm Drea Stein, currently with The Roots FM, which is an internet stream radio station right here in St. Louis.
Right on. My name is Rob Koritz. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm a musician.
Well, my name's Jerry, and
I'm a Deadhead, and for the past 26 years, I have been one of the drummers, percussionists in the Dark Star Orchestra.
I was always a music lover from a very young age. Music kind of seemed to me to be an escape place. I never had any talent. I tried. I took guitar lessons when I was a teenager, and it never worked out. So, but I always knew when to clap.
I kind of grew up with a different background. You know, I knew that on the radio, I knew Casey Jones was the Grateful Dead and all that, whatever. But my senior year in high school, one night, very, very late at night, and one of my buddies was spinning music, and I'm just listening, and he put on this thing that was a band playing Not Fade Away, which didn't mean that much to me. But then the band stopped and left the stage. The crowd kept going and singing it. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool.
there's a different scene at the Dead and Company. You had anybody from the younger generation all the way up to your senior citizens walking around pushing walkers or on a cane or something like that.
It was such a different feeling to be part of the music like that. Not just, in the audience clapping and hearing it, but it's like you became part of the music. And it wasn't until many years later that I figured out what to call it. When the music is right and it hits your soul and your heart and your brain and your feet and it hits you everywhere, that's an eargasm.
For me, it was that Europe 90 tour that I mentioned earlier. I mean, that was kind of the greatest 2 weeks of my life. People from all over the world, lots of Americans just traveling all through Europe to hear this music. Everybody was there for the exact same reason, to get on a train and party and make it to the next town to go get their groove on again.
It's just amazing. You just don't see that at any other show, where you may have a grandfather and a grandson going to the show together because the music connected them so much together. When we first started getting into it, I mean, you were into it, you were playing the music here around the house and stuff like that. So of course that spiked a little curiosity. I probably totally committed. I'll tell you, after we went to the first Dead and Company show in St. Louis. St. Louis was the major, as far as breaking grounds for the guys in the band. they always felt like they were at home, and they always hit back if they had a city that they liked, and they always came back, and they always come back to St. Louis.
I didn't get a chance to see him until '72 at the Fox Theater here in St. Louis, which at the time the Fox Theater was closed. And they opened it up for the Grateful Dead to play because they knew it was going to be a sellout.
At one point, when it was still shut down, there was talk that they were going to try and buy the Fox Theater and make that their Midwest Madison Square Garden or their Midwest Warfield or Fillmore, where they could set up and do 8 shows in 9 nights.
St. Louis has a strong community because the music is available locally. You don't have to wait for the next time the Dead toured, Dark Stars. You don't have to wait for them because you can pretty much hear it weekly. St. Louis is extremely lucky. We have a band here in town called Jake's Lake.
There was another band called 710 who still plays on occasion.
There's Alligator Wine. Sean Cannon's Voodoo Players occasionally do a Dead night or a Jerry night.
Grateful Dead was very influential in St. Louis and still is well and alive today because, or they wouldn't be having these grand nights, and they're packed out stadium nights.
I'm not exaggerating. You could go out 7 nights a week in St. Louis and hear Grateful Dead music.
That's the way I feel about it. St. Louis has a strong community. Sometimes you get that chance to touch people and find it in the strangest of places if you look at it right.
A